And virtually all incoming mail for inmates to thwart drugs that are smuggled by soaking them into paper. ONN's Daniel Barnett has more.
The agency says each prison will have scanning equipment to digitally copy mail under a contract with a company called GTL. The scanned mail will be delivered to tablets or wall-mounted kiosks that inmates already have access to. Legal mail will be exempt from being digitized. A spokesperson for the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction says that in the interim, the agency has been photocopying thousands of pages of mail per month.
Teams like the Cleveland Indians have changed their names due to racial concerns, and now 2 Ohio legislators are proposing a bill that would make schools around the state do the same. Andrew Kinsey with ONN affiliate WBNS-TV in Columbus reports.
Representative Adam Miller and Jessica Miranda are pushing Ohio schools to stop using Native American mascots. The resolution encourages the state school board to make what they consider a necessary change.
On the heels of the Cleveland Guardians name change, we're calling for an end to the hurtful and derogatory stereotypes too often used in our state today. I think, the time is best now more than ever to really tackle this issue here in Ohio.
About 80 schools here in Ohio have Native American nicknames or mascots. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
And I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been told where to tune for news and official information. WKKX serves the Wheeling operational area.
Who wants craft beer? Saturday, August 21st, the Mountaineer Brewfest is back at Wheeling Heritage Port, showcasing craft beers from West Virginia's finest brewers. With great food, live entertainment, and many more craft beer selections in our beer garden, it's a wild and wonderful time, and you don't want to miss out. Proceeds benefit a Special Wish Foundation. Get your tickets now at MountaineerBrewFest.com. Brought to you by Wheeling Island Hotel, Casino, Racetrack, and the UPS Store.
Toyota's national sales event is happening now with savings and reliability you can count on. So check out an adventure-ready gas model RAV4 with up to $750 cash back, or a stylish 22 Corolla with up to $500 cash back, or go with a sporty Camry with up to $1,000 cash back. Visit buyatoyota.com and find a dealer near you. You can take cash back or apply to a down payment. Offers may vary for hybrid models. See your dealer for details. Offers end September 7th. Toyota, let's go places.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. Sign up by August 15th for a health plan. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As much as we say we love nature, when it comes to bugs, not so much. When it comes to trees, the Ohio chapter of the International Society of Arboriculture wants you to know that most insects are not harmful to trees, especially if their populations are small. There are exceptions to that, but don't forget, every insect has a predator that's just looking to make it a meal. So sometimes it's just good to let nature take care of itself. If you're concerned about insects in your trees, find an ISA certified arborist near you at treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. A few scattered showers and storms through the day, otherwise clouds and sunshine mixing through the afternoon, a high near 87 degrees. Showers continue through the evening, overnight, with a low of about 63 degrees. For your Saturday, look for clouds and sunshine mixing with a high near 82. Have a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Morning, everyone.
Oh, the sound of your voice makes me want to punch myself in the throat.
How about you cool it with the attitude?
Or what?
Can't be professional? Stay off the air.
In case you didn't know, today is
Freestyle Friday.
Oh, wait.
What?
Now I'm ready.
Freestyle. You're the steak, I'm the sizzle.
Freestyle.
How about a little freestyle?
Oh, yeah! That's what I'm talking about!
Showtime!
Celebrating the 100 days of summer, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
75 degrees, still holding steady there at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Clear skies there. We are looking at 80, temperature moving up, 80 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. And it is sunny, and we're looking about 80 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios. Downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley, you're going to see today, pretty much like yesterday, maybe not quite as hot. We're going to predict the high of 87, might push close to 90. Feels like temperatures will be in the 90s. We came close to feels like of 100 yesterday, so maybe not quite that bad. We don't have any heat advisories today. Repeat, we do not have any heat advisories, in effect, like we did yesterday, but it's still going to be hot and muggy. And we do have scattered afternoon showers possible. And as we've talked about all week, anymore when we get scattered afternoon showers, they tend to be intense. So be aware of that. 9/11 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. We'll talk about the Ohio Valley News Week in Review with John McCabe coming up in a couple of minutes. First, I want to talk about one of our frequent topics here, Biff, which is tipping. I think you and I both agree that we should tip well for people who provide service to us at restaurants and so on, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I used to be 15%. I start at 20%. I round it up generally. If 20% makes it $4.75, I round it up to $5. And then if somebody's particularly, that's my starting point. If somebody's really good, I will round it up more. I very seldom go down unless somebody has really honked me off, because I understand that whatever's going on in their lives, they're trying their best to make a living, and I understand that it's not a high-paying job unless you get good tips. And I understand where people who aren't supposed to get tipped get really irritated when they're not tipped. But I have a story here, Biff, and I'm wondering if you think this guy was right or not. A DoorDash driver, this is not around here, I want to say that very quickly. A DoorDash driver said that he delivered to a customer that's a frequent customer and a guy who just never tips. He never tips. And so the DoorDash driver wrote him a note and basically said, he said, quote, "If you can't afford to tip, then you ought to go pick it up yourself."
And then he went on to say, I don't work for free. This is my living. This is how I make a job. Now, I understand the philosophy, and I understand he's right. I understand that he shouldn't have to work for free and so on. And I don't know the answer to this. I'm curious what you think, Biff, what any of our listeners think. Was the DoorDash driver right in saying so bluntly to the client, if you don't want to pay me, why don't you just go out and pick up your order yourself? Was that fair for him to do that?
I think it's fair for him to question. I don't like the way he went about it. I don't think you do you do it that way. I mean, I think for sure he should question, but I think he probably should have found a better way to come across and ask him.
I agree with you. Again, I'm 100% on the side of any delivery driver or service person or waitress or bartender or whatever. If somebody doesn't tip you, that's absolutely wrong. Everybody gets frustrated at this day and age, but we all know that getting help, forget good help, getting bad help, just getting help right now in the service industry is difficult. We know that. Dozens, hundreds, thousands of stories have been written about it. So I understand. You have to be willing to understand that things might be slow and what have you. But I also understand. I get the service person who feels angry when they get no tip. But here are a couple of things that I wonder about with this particular DoorDash driver. And again, I want to stress, it's not from around here. Number one, he says the guy never tips, which means he's taken deliveries to this guy's house before. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. A DoorDash driver can choose to not take the order. I mean, they can choose to say, no, I don't want to do that one. So he chose to go to a guy that he knows is a habitual non-tipper. Well, that's kind of, when he's saying to the customer, hey, it's your choice to ask for someone to bring you your food, you ought to pay for it. I think it's fair to say, yeah, it would have been your choice to say, I decline this order. I don't think I want to go see this guy. I've been there 5 times before, 6 times, 2 times, 3 times, whatever. I've been there before, and he never tips. I'm not going to go. So I think that puts the driver sort of in the wrong position to begin with. Plus, and I've never fully understood how these driver services work, but I think DoorDash drivers are guaranteed a certain amount of money per order. So it's not as if they get nothing. If you don't tip, they don't live off of tips. They get a certain amount of money from the order. I think I'm right about that.
I think it depends on how much the order is, what the amount is.
But you get something. I mean, it's not like your only income. If you're a DoorDash driver, it's not as if the only money you make is the tip. This driver who wrote this note, would have received some kind of compensation from DoorDash. I don't know how it works, a percentage of the size of the bill or a flat fee. I don't know. But you get money, first of all, simply for delivering it. Then the tip goes on top of that. So I'm sympathetic with him. I really am. But I think he went just the wrong way around on this. And I get it. It falls into, I preached on anger this week at church in Dillonvale. No, I was in Barnesville this week. I preached on anger and how everybody we're all so angry, Biffy. A polite, boy, I'm sorry you weren't able to give me a larger tip or something might be better than, if you don't want to tip me, then why don't you just come pick up the food yourself? Do we have to be that way? I don't know. Story crossed my desk. I thought it was interesting. If you all have some thoughts on it, feel free to text me. 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. It is the Watchdog Radio Network text line. All right, it's 9:18 in the morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. Time for the Friday Roundtable. And for that, we bring in newspaper editor John McCabe. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Howard Monroe, Hall of Fame
Are you
radio
good?
talk show guy.
I am
There you go.
a Hall of Famer. We were cleaning my office yesterday, and I came across my Hall of Fame, my little Hall ofAme plaque. I'm going to hang it on the wall or something here.
Did you have it like buried under stuff?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something, and you know this, John. I don't have kids, but when you have a 6-year-old grandkid who is here almost all the time, your house is no longer your own. I was kind of muttering about that yesterday. I get nowhere to sit. Every place I want to put my coffee cup down, there's a toy here. But we do it for the child.
Yes.
For the child. So I was cleaning things up, and I found and my wife pointed out it was 5 years ago that we went down.
Really?
5 years ago. Where do I want to start? Any thoughts on the delivery driver before I go on with that? Any thoughts?
Yeah, not really. I only heard a little bit of that, so not really. I only kind of caught the last part, so I'm not really sure exactly what you were talking about. But no real thoughts. Why don't we start with
delivery driver? I just think it's an example of how the DoorDash driver was upset that this guy didn't tip him, but he has never tipped him, and he still accepted the order. So I think he has to partly himself to blame.
Sure.
But I guess my point about it is, we all get so angry anymore. So this guy, I understand you want to get tipped. Then he wrote a really nasty note to the customer, and it's like,
that probably doesn't solve anything. Yeah, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath and.
I think in maybe another place where we all need to take a deep breath moving forward. We had a story in today, and more will be coming out in the coming weeks. Starting to see, kind of the base level of population returns from the 2020 census, and I think for those of us who followed this for years, we knew where numbers were trending, and that's down in our area. Ohio County lost 2,000 residents, I believe, from 2010. Marshall County 2,500. Again, I don't want to spend really any more time than this on it, and I don't think you do either. But I think it's just a good reminder that there's a lot of work to be done in our region to number one, improve quality of life for those of us here, and two, to look and see where we want to be. You and I have talked about that for 20 years. Where does this city want to be? What does it see itself as? What does this region see itself as? And I don't know. I know we'll get arguments that they have a vision, but I don't know if that vision has been expressed well. And I don't, outside of Wheeling, I don't know if anyone's really thinking about it all that much, in terms of at the city level. So it's going to be interesting to see as we go through August and into September when the full numbers come out and the demographics start to come out and the breakdown by neighborhoods that are easily readable for everyone. Kind of get us a better snapshot of where we're at as a community and how we move forward.
Well, it isn't a great surprise to anybody who's paid attention, as you point out. We're losing population. We have lost more population than anybody else in the country, I think.
As a state, right?
As a state,
right.
So
percentage-wise, right?
Percentage-wise, yes. So But I think your point is what we have to somewhere along the way we've got to develop a real specific game plan about our cities. The cities have to have a game plan. The state has to have a game plan. What is it exactly we're going to do? And we tend to be city, state, we tend to be hit and miss, helter-skelter. This year we're going to do this, and then next year we do that,
Mm-hmm.
We're going to develop some kind of a long-term plan.
I can't remember where I heard him. He might have been on the Kirchhoff show or might have been somewhere else. But a West Virginia native who is either now just retired or still oversees the development of, what they call the technology triangle down in, Winston-Salem and Durham and down in that area of North Carolina. And I'm pretty sure it was on Kirchhoff's show. And, and he made a good point. They came up with a plan and they stuck to it. Not knowing if it was going to work or not, but they developed a plan and moved forward with that plan, and that was their goal. And I think what you just said is exactly right. As our legislature has so much power still over our cities that I don't even know if somewhere like Wheeling you can make a plan Because how can you make a plan when we can't even guarantee when we can get the roads paved? You know, look how long it's taken to get downtown. We're moving on. You know, by the time it gets done, it's going to be a decade to get Main and Market Streets paved.
The streetscape.
Yeah. And, you know, and so how do you make long-term plans when you don't have buy-in at every level? And unfortunately, the way our government is set up in West Virginia, even with home rule, cities still are so beholden to Charleston because of the way the roads are set up, and the state has control over so much of the infrastructure, that it's hard to plan and stick to it because you're always adjusting based upon factors outside of your control.
Well, and of course, the legislature in the past year has wanted to set the standards for everybody.
Right.
So, you know, prohibiting cities from doing things on their own, which I think is a terrible mistake, because they want to let the government closest to the people have much more flexibility. The hope on the horizon to me, John, is, and I don't know that it's going to happen, there is a huge amount of federal money coming into the state and into individual cities and counties and so on now, as a result of the various federal Rescue Act, the stimulus acts, and so on. It is, I think you and I have talked about this before, it is transformational money.
Mm-hmm.
If the state develops a plan to use that money in a long-term, well-thought-out, transformational way, it can turn the state around. Now, I don't know what that plan is. I'm not beginning to suggest what it should be. But I am saying we have got, you know, every plan always falls apart because, well, how can we pay for it? How can we pay for it?
Exactly.
Well, here it is. And I was talking with Sarah Wood from Moundsville Council yesterday, and we were talking about that. She said Moundsville is trying to hold, you know, planning sessions with what are they going to do with their money. It's not something you just want to say, oh, let's go buy a trash compactor, you know.
Let's go buy a big Army surplus truck to sit in the garage. How's that sound?
I was good.
You may not have said
that same comment. Yeah, maybe that's not the best idea.
Maybe not.
But there is transformational money there, and I think, but it requires serious people taking serious thought, and you and I may end up arguing over this next comment, but we've got to start looking to the future, not to the past. And I'm thinking about how I can see more of this money in the state legislature somehow being put into the coal industry, put into power plants. I get nervous about this Public Energy Authority the governor has reactivated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wipe my hands of coal, but I also think we've got to see what's the future and what's the past, and I'm not sure we see that yet in this state.
Well, I'm going to never argue with you on that. I mean, I think it's, you know, as we've talked, the two of us have talked, and we've written on our editorial page for the last several years, is that we've got to. We feel it's important to protect the jobs we have now because we are not yet ready to fully transition our economy away from where it's at. But we wrote, I think it was last weekend. Marshall County received a lifeline with the Mitchell plant. They need, they can't sit on their laurels for the next 18 years until 2040 rolls around and that plant is, we're kind of where we're at now or in the 2030s and start saying, oh, we've got to save the plant. They need to take that $400+ million in economic impact. All that money that they receive is from the Mitchell plant through taxes and payroll taxes, et cetera, and start to think about what we just talked about. Where are we going to be in 15 years? We know that, the Mitchell plant, we know that coal has, it will continue to have a smaller role in our nation's energy output as we move forward. So how do we prepare for when Mitchell is beyond the point of being legislatively saved? Will they do that? I mean, I surely hope so. That's what, that's part of being responsible government. You've got to continue thinking, but just as on this end, we can't throw coal away right now because we just can't. There's not enough. We can't, especially coal and natural gas. But we've got to continue to, think of how we transition our economy so that, again, we're not looking at that and realizing how dependent we are on that one single source of jobs and energy.
Yeah, we have, unfortunately in the state, a bad history of having opportunities arise that buy us time, and we don't take advantage of it. I'm
Exactly.
thinking, for example, when gaming came in, the very beginning of casinos, the machines, and then eventually table gaming and so on. It was always said, John, you were around as I was when the debates were held. It always was said this will be a relatively limited rising industry, and then it'll level off and maybe go down. But it buys time for us to develop new strategies for additional economic development. And we never did that. We just, with all this money coming in, let's build the Highlands, let's build a ballpark down in Charleston, let's, do this, that, or the other, have a promised scholarship. All of which are wonderful things, and we should have done all those things. But in the meantime, what did we do to take that opportunity to buy time to find a better solution? And I think the answer is nothing.
Right. Well, and you just hit the nail on the head. As a state, and we have a long history of doing that. And I look back, and every time I see him or hear from him or even see his name pop up somewhere, I think back to Jeff Kessler and his push for the West Virginia Futures Fund. And what a waste of legislative time that turned out to be, unfortunately, because the way that bill finally came out guaranteed that $0 would ever go into that fund. And hence, when we had excess money coming in from natural gas drilling, what did we do? We used it for day-to-day operations. And we used it to, as you said, to pave a few roads out in the middle of nowhere instead of, again, holding the companies that were damaging the roads accountable to fix them as they said they would. And at the end of the day, all we did was kind of stay even. We didn't have a chance to put anything away, didn't have a chance to plan for the future. And here we are 11 years later, and it just hasn't really made the impact that it could have.
I need to go a break, and when we come back, maybe we'll pick up a little bit on that because we can stick with the legislature, which looks like it's going to go through a bit of a change here in the near future because some folks are saying, thanks, but I'm leaving. We'll talk about that. COVID, vaccines, going back to school, test scores, and more. All coming up in our Friday Roundtable News and Review with John McCabe after we check into the newsroom right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
If ventilator treatments do not work, they are sent to Ruby Memorial Hospital. To experience now what other states did about a month ago with an increase in patients. He says most, if not all, are unvaccinated, adding states with the lowest vaccination rates are seeing the highest number of new cases. WVU Medicine has the highest ECMO treatment success rate in the country. I'm Alex Thomas, WVMetroNews.com.
Population numbers are out from the U.S. Census Bureau, and they show a drop in population in cities like Charleston and Huntington. Charleston's official census population is now at 48,864 residents. That's down about 2,500 people since the 2010 census. Monongalia County Delegate Joe Statler says they plan to use the latest census numbers to help with redrawing state district lines for the upcoming election.
Once we get the numbers in, and you just have to start county by county, district by district, and start drawing it out and looking to where it's going to go.
Statler spoke at a redistricting hearing in Morgantown Thursday night. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Monongalia County Mecca 911 Director Jim Smith says they've received more than 300 individual assessments for damage caused by July 29th storms.
Most people have been estimating their damage assessments. I can tell you the individual assessments runs into the millions.
Smith says some residents saw water damage and mold in their homes. If FEMA documents more than $2.9 million in damages, the county would qualify for an emergency declaration and federal relief money. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Kerry Hudasek.
NFL preseason football in Philadelphia. The Steelers down the Eagles 24-16. Quarterback Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State led the way, completing 16 of 22 for 161 yards, 1 touchdown. Let's hear from the head coach, Mike Tomlin.
I really thought he was in command tonight. He did a great job of communicating with people, going through progressions and so forth. He had a third down play. That was, 3rd and 8 or so forth, and I saw him go through 3 or 4 reads and throw the ball over the middle of the field and convert for us. And that was just a snapshot of the type of night he had tonight. I thought he was very much in command of his play.
Steelers improved to 2-0 in the preseason. By the way, during the game, the Steelers acquired a pretty good veteran linebacker. They traded for Joe Schobert. That's a great move for a defense that's already improved and considered one of the best in the National Football League. And now some baseball notes. At PNC Park, the St. Louis Cardinals again defeated the Pirates 7-6. With that win, they sweep the 3-game series. J.T. Brubaker, you got to feel bad for this guy. He took the loss. He is 4-12 on the year. Pirates host the Brewers tonight at PNC Park. Field of Dreams game played in Dyersville, Iowa. Tim Anderson, your hero. Tim Anderson of the Chicago White Sox hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning to defeat the New York Yankees 9-8.
Just coming here playing middle corner, man. Who would have thought that? And, who would have thought that I'd be able to walk it off here, too, as well. So, we made history tonight.
By the way, both teams in this game combined to crush 8 home runs. This afternoon on the Variety Show, in the 1 o'clock hour, the voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Greg Brown. Coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, Pittsburgh Penguin radio announcer and radio partner for Mike Lang, Phil Bork. Bork and Brown. What a great 1-2 punch. That's all on the Variety Show from 12 to 3. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
This is Bill DeFabio, your host of The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio. Heard on The Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, heard on The Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in and get with the program. I'm Bill DeFabio. Join me for The Variety Show on The Watchdog.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
There's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
The celebration begins Friday, August 13th at Wheeling's Heritage Port with live music. Celebrate 20 years of the Heritage Music Blues Fest. This year's Blues Fest features blues superstars Ronnie Earl and the Broadcasters, 2021 Traditional Blues Grammy winner Bobby Rush, the rock and blues of Indigenous and Anna Popovich, and up-and-coming blues superstars Davey Knowles and Hannah Wickland, and many more. Heritage Music Blues Fest, Friday, August 13th through Sunday, August 15th. Tickets and info at heritagemusicfest.com.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
College football is back, baby. The Watchdog brings your favorite teams right to your speakers. Let's go, Mountaineers! On WKKX 98.1 FM and AM 1600. If hanging with Sloopy is more your style, WVLY 97.7 FM and 1370 AM is home to the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Watchdog is your home for the best in college football in the Ohio Valley. Dominating both AM and FM, The Watchdog is AM 1600 and 1370, FM 98.1 and 97.7. We are The Watchdog.
Here's a look at the Ohio Valley local news week in review with newspaper editor John McCabe and Howard Monroe.
75 degrees, staying pretty consistent at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Clear skies at the airport, according to Storm Tracker 7. We are looking at 84 degrees and sunny skies here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. So it's a lot warmer down low than it is up high. At least that seems to be the case right now. We're looking for a hot day today. 87 or so. Zach is predicting for the high. Might push into 90, 91. We'll wait and see. And, of course, it's entirely possible that the feels-like temperatures will be much higher, could be close to 100. Maybe not there, but getting close to it. Scattered showers, even thunderstorms this afternoon. John McCabe is with me. We're talking about some of the Ohio Valley stories of the week. John, one of West Virginia's newest senators from our area, is going to have a short-lived term in the Senate. I'm talking about Bill Ehlenfeld.
Yeah, short of something happening, which we don't expect it to, but he has been, we'll say nominated, but also renominated from a prior term as U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of West Virginia. Bill Ehlenfeld, looking to return to the federal building, here in Wheeling, and just also in Martinsburg and in Clarksburg, to lead that office. Good fit for him. I think it's a good fit for the office. Those positions are always politically driven. So, Democrat president, you appoint a Democratic, appointee to that post. But I think the really interesting thing, congratulations to Bill Ehlenfeld. I know he's wanted to get back into that job for some different reasons, right. But I think it's the right fit for him. It's in some ways a good fit for the Panhandle, good fit for Wheeling. As we talked, Bill Powell was kind of the first transition away from a Wheeling-based attorney being the federal, being the U.S. attorney for the district. So it's nice to see that come back, pending Senate confirmation. But really, I think the interesting piece of all this is who in the world gets appointed to the rest of his term.
Yeah.
Who are you hearing?
Well, I think a logical assumption, of course, the short-term appointment will come from, I'm not sure what the committee is, state senatorial committee or whatever.
I would have to assume it's state since it's a Senate district. I would have to assume that.
Yeah, so, but I would have to assume that a logical option would be Sean Fluharty.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Sean Fluharty.
Yeah.
What does Sean Fluharty do on a daily basis? He chides the governor. No.
Well,
he chides the governor on Twitter, correct?
Yes.
Who has to approve this? Who has to approve this appointment? The governor.
Well, you're asking me who do I think is. Remember, there will be three names put into the mix.
You're right. I don't disagree. I think it's going to be interesting.
I think Sean will be one. Mm-hmm. I think Randy Schwartzmiller likely to be another one.
Okay.
At least he has an interest in it, I think. And I'm really not sure who the third one will be because we don't have a big Democratic bench strength here in the Northern Panhandle.
I heard. I was talking to someone yesterday, Howard, and we were talking about this, and he said what he heard is that they're going to put up Fluharty and like two child sex predators, so the governor has no choice. Either that or it's really going to be an interesting. Fluharty seems to be the Schwartzmiller. Well, he's from Hancock County. You can't have two from the same county. Weld is from Brooke. I believe Schwartzmiller is from Hancock.
Correct. I think that's correct.
Yeah, but so it's going to be very interesting because, again, Fluharty has been extremely public for his disdain for the governor and his actions and switching parties and all the other things. So I don't see the governor, no matter if it is Fluharty and nobody else, I would think he might reject that appointment if he even has that power. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, I remember, and I forget what district it was, where he rejected the offerings from it wasn't the county, but I guess it was the county level recommendations, and ended up taking a state recommendation that was not part of the county recommendation. That was down south, and I honestly can't remember who it was now, but he did sort of ignore the local folks and went with a recommendation that came from Roman Stoffer and some others there. So I mean, he does have a history of that. But I don't even have any sense of who a third, and I've asked around, I've poked around. I don't even have a sense of who a third Democrat would be, because there's supposed to be three. Again, unless they pull somebody out of nowhere and saying, "Look, let's get Yabaloni here." That
hey, Howard, I just got a message on the text line in my office here. It says, Fluharty noticeably silent on Twitter since Ehlenfeld announcement, even complimentary of governor. How interesting is that?
Well, I noticed a similar tweet on Twitter yesterday, somebody commenting that Sean has been more silent than usual about the governor. I don't know that he's been complimentary, but more silent than usual. But I don't know. So those are the two names that I think are there. I don't know who the third one would be. I think you're correct that the governor may not be a big fan of Sean Fluharty's, but it all depends on what names are put to him, I think. And remember, that's the interim, that's the short-term fix till the end of the term. Well, the term is up next year, and there will be an election, and you have to wonder who are the Republicans that are going to run for it.
Yeah, good question. I mean, that has been, that's going to be I think much the same as we see with the Democrats. You know, I look at the Republican bench we'll just say in Ohio County. You know, frankly, we might see a Republican come out of Hancock County. That county has turned very red. Again, that might be a possibility. So it's, you know, again, as we just talked with population, that is, you know, we're right on the midterms. You know, so it's going to be very interesting to see who throws their hat in the ring, how things come out, and how we move forward in 2022.
Republican names, and again, pure speculation. I've talked to folks who speculate as I do on this, but it's pure speculation. Erica Storch, maybe, wanting to move up from delegate. Another name I hear, you know, he's a bit of a rogue Republican, but Pat McGeehan. You know, Pat's always sort of out there on the fringes thinking about things. You know, is that a possibility? Somebody suggested to me yesterday, and I told him absolutely not. I don't think it's at all possible. Andy McKenzie, who once was a state senator from this area. I don't think Senator and then Mayor McKenzie would have any interest in it at all. I don't know. Haven't talked to Andy for a good while. But somebody suggested that name to me. I don't think that's a reasonable best guess.
Yeah, that would be a surprise to me. But okay.
And then the Democratic Party has more problems because a long-time, almost guaranteed re-elected member, and I like him a lot, John Unger from the Eastern Panhandle, is stepping down from his state Senate seat so he can become a magistrate in, is it?
Berkeley County,
Berkeley
I believe
County?
it was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another long-time, pretty guaranteed Democrat seat that now is going to be filled temporarily and then will be up for grabs next year. That's going to be a problem.
And again,
according to at least one published report that I saw, a broadcast report actually, from one of the TV stations down south, Stephen Baldwin, the minority leader, has said that he hasn't made up his mind if he wants to run again. He's a Presbyterian minister, and he says he's not sure that the kind of politics that's practiced in the legislature anymore is one that he would feel comfortable with as a Presbyterian minister. So you could be seeing him out of things too. I mean, Democrats are it's not a good week for Democrats in the state legislature.
Yeah, well, it's been not a good couple of years, that's for certain. It's been a challenging few years with the shift in power, and again, you're exactly right. As the folks who have at least been able to continue to hold some power down there, transition out. I would say, even though there was a small group, Bill Ehlenfeld, Stephen Baldwin, very articulate, very forward-thinking, at least offered something to the discussion. And with those voices gone, it will be interesting to see, who gets appointed in their places and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, and again, certainly Unger and Ehlenfeld and Baldwin all were really good. As you say, they were thoughtful. They were listened to by both sides of the aisle simply because, well, Unger had been there for a long time. He's been a fairly reasonable guy most of the time. Ehlenfeld was able to do some coalition building on a couple of things over the time he's been in office. Replacing him is not going to be easy. Let's go back real quick to the Republicans in the first senatorial district, the Ehlenfeld thing. We didn't mention Ryan Ferns.
Oh, we did not. Yeah, I don't know if he would be interested in jumping back into that fire again, but that is another name who has held office and been reelected and switched parties, didn't he? At one point.
Once upon a time.
Yeah. So that's another possible name out there.
I have not heard anything about or talked to Ryan Ferns since he left office. I have not the foggiest idea. My sense is he's probably given up on politics, even though he did have higher aspirations at one time. But who knows? Circumstances can change. I think that's the name that's in the mix there. Yep. John, before I let you go, let's talk about COVID for a second and vaccines. Biff and I were debating this earlier this morning. What do you think we as a state can do to motivate more people to get vaccinated? The governor wags his finger in our face and lectures us, and I don't criticize him for it. That's the best he can do every time he's in front of a camera. But it doesn't seem to be making a lot of inroads. The baby dog contest, in my mind, was a waste of $10 million. What do we do? What do we do to get people to get vaccines in West Virginia?
I think that's a good question. I don't know if there's a lot that can be done. As we've talked before, I think that the folks who are going to get it have gotten it. Those who are adamantly opposed will remain opposed. I think it just needs to be continued education from family doctors, from if you go to a clinic like a MedExpress or something, continuing education there of the the safety of the vaccine and the not that the vaccine again is going to stop you from potentially catching COVID, but that if you do, your symptoms are very small. Again, continue to see more and more cases of people being what they call it, reinfected or whatever, or
breakthrough cases. They call it.
Breakthrough cases. But all the cases at Wheeling Hospital, a couple days ago, were unvaccinated patients.
Unvaccinated.
Yeah. So it's pretty clear on that front. But people have to make their own decisions and have to continue making their own decisions. So I don't know at this point how, other than continuing to try to educate, until you get to the point where it becomes a mandated event, which I'm not really a big fan of, but, we do it with school vaccinations and other things. So, I don't know. That's a good question, Howard. I just don't know if no one has the answer, unfortunately, or it would be, they would be using it now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am not a fan of mandating it, but I'm beginning to think there isn't going to be any other option. Logic and the bully pulpit, the trusted authority figures, all that kind of stuff doesn't really seem to be working.
No.
The baby dog thing just didn't work. I said to Biff earlier, maybe we ought to spend $10 million and give everybody who got a new vaccine a nice gift. I'm talking about a computer or a TV or, I don't know, something. Part of my concern, I'll be curious to see, I should ask your reporter, Stephen Adams, to look into this. I would like to know how many of the baby dog winners got their vaccine after the baby dog contest was announced. I'll bet you all of them, if not almost all of them, if not all of them, had been previously vaccinated before the contest even began. My point is, I don't think baby dog motivated probably any of them to actually get their vaccine.
Right.
So we'll see. John, I got to run. There was something else I was going to ask you.
Well, test scores we need to talk about probably next week. I think they're fairly
let's
interesting
do
in
that,
terms of
'cause
the
I know that's
pandemic.
a big issue of yours, and we'll get into that. And also, by next week, maybe we'll have a mask mandate again, because the governor says he may be leaning a little bit that way. And that's become the big flashpoint next. Boy.
And I'm afraid to see how that, personal thoughts on masking aside, I really worry on what the response from the public is going to be. And I really feel bad for people at Lowe's and at Walmart and other places where people are just going to walk in, and who have to stand there if we go back to that and have to try to enforce that.
We'll talk about it next week. Thanks, John.
See you, Howard.
Over to the Big Seven, WTRF TV. Bob Westfall is with us on this Friday morning. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Howard. How are you?
Well, it's Friday. I got 6 minutes left to go. I'm almost ready to go play hide and seek with my grandson.
Oh, you can't beat that then.
That's what I'm eyeing up now. So, what's your day looking like?
Well, before we start, did you watch the Field of Dreams game last night?
I did not watch the game. I watched some of the replays and some of the the clips from it and so on. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah. I mean, and not to get any of your viewers upset, I'm a Yankee hater. I've been a Kansas. I've been a Kansas City fan since I was in high school. So they were always the ones that knock us out and go into the World Series. So I developed a deep, distinct hate for the Yankees. But I literally watched the entire game last night. I think the All-Star game, if it's not there every year, at least next season they should move the All-Star game to that ballpark. It was amazing.
That's actually a great idea. That's a great idea. I like that. Adds a little juice to the game too. I like that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but yeah, I just like I said, I'm not a Yankees fan, but I am certainly not a White Sox fan because we're in the same division with Kansas City. But well done, Major League Baseball. Some things we are working on. Guess what today is?
Friday the 13th.
That's right. We're going to go out and talk to people whether they're superstitious on this day, and if they are superstitious, what is your superstition? I know we were talking about this yesterday in the newsroom. John Lynch. When he's watching his team, whether they're the Giants in baseball or the Dolphins, and they're winning, he wears the same thing. I mean, literally, he tweets at the same time. He does everything at the same time. I'm the same way. When the Royals were winning 14 and 15, I wore the same hat. I wore the same shirt. I wore everything. I ate the same food. So, I mean, we're going to talk to people about being superstitious and what their superstitions are. So we're going to get that.
I think you should send DK out in front of the building with a ladder, put the ladder up, and then ask people to please walk underneath it and see how many do.
And they would. For DK, they'd absolutely walk under a ladder.
That's why I said DK, because you're absolutely right. For DK, they would.
Yeah, DK right. Okay, I'll walk under a ladder. Oh, want to break me a mirror? I'll break a mirror for DK right. So there you go. A couple of things to work on real quick. Census numbers are out. City of Wheeling, top of my head, I think lost about 2,000 between 2010 and 2020. Looking at some of the others, Moundsville's down about a couple hundred. So we're right now looking at the numbers. It looks like the Northern Panhandle, as an area of the state of West Virginia, may have lost the most anywhere across the state. So obviously we've got Ohio and Pennsylvania people moving there, but the numbers are considerably down. Obviously we're going to lose a representative when it comes to Washington. Right. Big numbers coming out when it comes to the census. So we've got, we're hoping to talk to the chamber, maybe the city as well on that one. So we're going to do that. Obviously the Marshall Expo is tonight, the Health and Business Expo. We will be down there for the ribbon cutter. Always some good stuff down there. A lot of good people come into that, so we're excited about being part of that as well. So dealing with that.
That's always a good event.
Yeah, our high school football previews continue. Next week football kicks off. Can you believe it?
Jeez.
Yeah,
I can, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
I've got my fingers crossed, given the rise in COVID, that nobody does anything bad. But yes, it's hard to believe. Here it is at last.
So anyway, I think one or two games Thursday night, and then a full slate on Friday. So our sports show will be kicking off Friday night. Excited for football, excited for the Valley. So those are some of the things we're working on today. Plus, it's the weekend.
It is. It is. All right, so we'll be looking for things at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 statewide show. See what Mark Curtis brings us. And always, we keep an eye on WTRF.com. Download the new app if you haven't done that yet, my friends. And always follow along with Storm Tracker 7. Best way to stay on top of the weather all day long. And Bob, we will wish you a good weekend. Talk to you Monday.
Okay, and we are expecting weather this evening. So, yeah, you get that app real quick.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right,
Talk to you
bye.
soon. Well, Biffy, I think it's time for me to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kirchhoff does have the comm coming up next here on the Watchdog. Senator Manchin among his guests. A couple of good guests coming up with Bill DeFabio today, Greg Brown and
Phil Bork.
Yeah, Bill Bork. That's right, from the Penguins. So Penguins announcer team. So good stuff with Billy. And listen, good Lord willing, creeks don't rise. Backbone doesn't ring. Don't get impeached. Don't retire. And most importantly, Teddy says it's okay. You can go back to work on Monday, Granddad. I'll be back Monday morning, 7 o'clock. Another go round of the big gig. Are you back with me, Biff?
Back Monday, ready to rock and roll.
All right, have yourself a good weekend. We're going to keep on doing it until we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Afghanistan.
All right, Biffy. Not a bad show since I had nothing planned. Yeah, it worked out all right. I think sometimes it's okay just to do these kick-around shows. It worked out fine. It looks. Just heard Teddy come in, so it's probably going to be 30 seconds away from hide and seek. Yes, exactly. He lets no grass grow under his feet as soon as he comes in. Granddad, let's get playing. Okay, son, let's go. No. He's ready to roll. Everything going okay? No problems today, technically or otherwise? Okay, good. All right, good. Well, if anything happens that you need me, I'll be around. I'll just be playing. So give me a call. Otherwise, have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.
Clay Jenkins' decision to force businesses and schools to require facial coverings.
I'm sick of the BS,
says one of the protesters, but Jenkins insists the pandemic presents a special set of circumstances.
Your liberty and freedom does not extend to harming your neighbor.
The governor has asked the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn a lower court's ruling that allows cities, counties, and school districts to impose their own anti-COVID measures. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
You're listening to ABC News.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The new Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses and automatically adjusts to keep you both effortlessly comfortable. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Don't miss our weekend special. Save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed. Plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
I absolutely love my dog, but the constant shedding, not so much. But then I got a Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, and it is amazing. These super thick cloths pick up a crazy amount of hair. Just look at all that. And that was from just one swipe. And the best part? Sweeper's so much easier to maneuver than a broom or a vacuum, easily getting around chairs and under the couch. You're right. Now I can focus on you, not your shedding. Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, because shed happens.
A mass shooting in the English city of Plymouth is shaking residents. 6 people killed, including the suspected attacker.
Tragic incidents like these are rare in the UK, and the locals are shaken.
Obviously, it's quite close to home, which is quite frightening. So, yeah, scary.
It's not really what you think to hear down in Plymouth, is it, really? It's just not the ordinary.
School and a church in the neighborhood have opened for those affected by the attack. Local politician Johnny Mercer called it one of the darkest days in the community in many, many years. Police have determined it was not terror-related. Tom Rivers, ABC.